So from page 52, after meeting Zakayo, and again Aliaka emerges. She also comes from the river. She carried water in her head as she balanced the pot. Aliaka had already broke into laughter and smiled all through the way as I escorted her and we go towards her home. Haha, Nyangwezo, my boy, you're so hilarious. Will you give birth to zombies or pride kids with brilliant minds as yours? I long to see the kind of blood you'll sire. The kind of breeds carried in your trousers, must be genius as their father. So, aren't you going to help me? She actually tried to laugh at me as we talked on our way home. I won't mind helping you, as long as your father do not kill me. Let me have your pot. Place it on my head. She actually floated her pot and placed it on my head. You see, such are the responsibilities as men has to shoulder. Maybe I ought also to admire to be a woman and have all that which as men we suffer a lot and pain ourselves just to have attached. I said as I stretched my hand further and touched somewhere slightly over her womb, slowly moved it downwards just to find her someplace down there, but I found a fierce reproach. Frightened, I almost ran away. She actually fell and conceded to the attraction. I gave in to her feeble request. I never touched what I wanted, but I gave in to her request and floated the pot and placed it in my head. Firmly, I could not support it with minimal consideration of what the society will talk about. That is, us boys carrying the water by our head. It was not a normal thing. So we made our way towards their home. Zakayo broke into laughter as he observed me balancing the pot like a woman did in the head. I did not mind. I enjoyed every bit of moment with Nadiaka. Tungelele. Nalianga kept singing that song that teased me to keep balancing as she felt happy. At times she put my hand over my waist and stood at akimbo. You know, such songs we sang to our young kids, motivating them to stand on their own while they learn to walk. So I also tried to balance the pot in my head, and I did what the young children would also do. She sang it again and again to tease me off. I was encouraged and kept it going, balanced over my head towards the homestead. You foolish boy, don't you mean that you are foolish boy? You can't mean that you are after my daughter. Since when did the boys fetch water? You must have observed her, the way she bent forward to collect her water from the river, eh? And here you come, pretending to assist her. Get off your face from this place quickly, before I stamp on your toes. Mr. Nyongeza had actually popped out of the sugar cane in a mixture of fury and pleasure. Naleka had already broken into laughter as he observed me dashing off with a superjet speed, that of a marathon runner. I trembled, and therefore I could not handle the pot, and thus it came down into pieces. It broke into particles. Ah, coward boy. He can't defend himself. But anyway, I like him. That's my boy. Let me get a hold of him this evening. I'll squeeze him in to cry. He must pay back for the broken pot. Either he gives me another pot or I'll take his ball and hide beside the riverbank. That's the day actually she took my ball and hid with it. It was a punishment for my inability to defend myself before her father. I never minded her to keep the ball for me. Actually, it was safe in her custody. Days passed by, Naleka would not be found. From a distance, I observed her mom walking all alone to the market. I inquired of her from where she was, if she was found at home. What the hell had came over that Naleka will keep silent for me? Moses must have taken her. Maybe, as a matter of fact, she wanted a revenge. She had always claimed of me flirting with nasambu. So, women are always funny. She will make an assumption of something and believe on that. I remember that she had actually promised of me that once she had found, she had actually promised of me that once she had also found me on several occasions, sat with nasambu. Definitely, I had begun secret affairs with nasambu, something that was very far from my mind. But she believed on that. No wonder many of women would attend church services and believed on every word that came from the preacher. He's a man of God and thus his prophecies are always right. They actually believed on Bishop Benjamin's sermon. Memories that Moses had hosted my girl would kill me. I failed to walk, even to eat and sleep. That would be the end of my life. Naleka being married to another man, especially Moses, my very close friend, that was a life and death mission. I won't live to see that come for someone else making love to my woman. Nothing of the sort idea will be ideal for my brains. That was an idea I will not carry. What if it happened to be a fact, truth, and real? Because someone notified me some days ago that he had ever seen both Moses and Naleka as they walked down the valley towards what belonged to Moses as a house, a small rounded simba that he slept and kept hosting his numerous visitors, the girlfriends, women of all different calibers, the old and the young, the fat and the thin, beautiful and ugly. He never chose. Whoever was available actually was ready and willing to have a good time altogether. If love was meant to kill, and then that was true. I actually picked my Nyundobul rope, stretched and observed it was tight. It won't stretch, it won't snap as I tried to hang on it. It won't actually snap. That was perfect to take my life off with. It was actually perfect, very strong. Therefore, very early in the morning, I decided to commit the act and perhaps forget the problem that was actually killing my heart. It was necessary to remove the feelings from my lives forever. By the count of 3, I tipped off the stool and left myself hanging. What pain for me to cry like a baby. I yelled, calling out for help. Mama Chemtai had also arrived in that very morning. It's obvious she had spent the night out. She overheard a strangling human being tied by the rope, all alone in my simba. The commotion had grown wild. What if my boy had been invaded with a wild animal? She actually thought of herself. She came quickly. And as a rescue team, she thought of Injusi, a wild dog, must have stormed into my house and began tearing me apart. She was actually perturbed and would not hesitate to come over, rescue me. She ran. She came close to after being flabbergasted with the silent homestead that very morning. Then there must be something strange happening in my room. She actually peeped through the window and observed. Oh no, somebody hanging by the ceiling top. Nyangwezo, you want to kill yourself. Foolish boy. How many fruits are in the forest here? Some are growing well, just near the Malakis forest. And here you are. You want to kill yourself for one fruit, huh? You've not yet even tasted the wild fruits in our forest there. Look at this boy. Foolish boy. She had actually picked the note that I had left on the stool and read, what I had actually noted. She realized that I was killing myself for a woman. Actually, the note read, Naliaka, umenitambu. We rather meet in heaven. Chemtai left, and as she observed my poor writing, as well as poor and broken English, misspelled the word many dump. Leave alone stupid the grammar. As we for the Bukusu people, we had always failed to pronounce the letter D and thus pronounce it for T. Whenever we found it in our statement, putting the difference between T and D became a big problem. Here again I misspelled the same poor pronunciation in the writing. In my letter, I also had put the word in the note. Chemtai broke into laughter rather than help me rescue the man dangled in the rope. Nadeka must be brought here to observe what her man has tried to do. Now that Nadeka has gone to Malaikisi to visit her auntie, this can cause this man to take off his life. Just 2 weeks of her absentia can cause a whole man to cut off his throat. Can somebody please run quick and bring Naleka here? She actually went to check her ailing auntie in the next market, Malakizi. Heard of someone mention the name Naleka. I actually resurrected. I thought she had arrived. Such a brilliant boy will fail to school her desires for women. Yet days we are living on are days of freedom to choose. Choose one for the day, that which you are fallen in love, and have yourself. These are days for infidelity. Have sex with anyone you feel like. Choose one for the day and forget the memories. Never mind of the string attached. Never mind where she has also slept the other days. But as much as you find your share, thank God and keep life going. Chemutai will narrate much of the network she has lived on, and that is what her life has actually put in place to accept realities, as it had been practiced with many, that you can no longer trust your partner for as long as people met, they mingled and went down for sex. No more of the long, reliable and trustworthy relations like of our four grandparents. That became the broken fabrics for the current days. She paused, looked at me, my eyes popping out of their socket. Indeed, I will die if nobody comes to my rescue. Somebody had to save me. I heard Naliaka had gone to visit her ailing auntie. She must be having some medicine for this young man, dying for love. Chemtai kept talking to herself as she tried what she could manage. She quickly climbed over the bed, stood over my neck, stood over in my bed, which was an abomination in our tradition, for a woman of your father to sit, step, or sleep on the son's beddings. She had actually to override such ancestral belief. There was no time for that, and she actually began attaining the knob. I felt her come close. Sweet smells for her perfume filled up my nose, very close indeed, as she tried to push me up, touched me all over, and untied the knob up in my neck. She must be sweet. Mama Chemutai came to my rescue as she unloaded me from the rope that hung from the ceiling post of my small house. Before I streamed in with strokes of cane, to chase off the spirits of doom that might hang around and perhaps encourage more of such tales, they worked on my buttocks. Mercilessly, they beat me up. Through that, it will chase off the suicide spirits. Within a moment, all roads led to my homestead. The whole village came to observe what could be the reason for a gentleman of my age try to commit such an act. Elders had already administered their oracle of such incident, thus they beat me up with a knife on my buttocks before they untied me from the rope, perhaps to prevent more of such calamities in the village. Others came to mourn what could be the lost life. For instance, Moses and his friend kept crying. Nasambu kept crying for what could have been the lost soul. But as for Moses and some of his friends, they kept laughing at me. Nyamkweso, why should you kill yourself for a woman? There are so many, like matatus, You miss one, you get another one. I mean, as one goes, there should be another one calling for you. Actually, that day I became an overnight village celebrant. Brenda had arrived and pitied my soul. Nyangweso, you should have called for me. If Naliaka dumps you, remember some of us here still longs for your hand. Many of us here still loves you. I mean, don't you know how girls of this village, many of us, just longs for a day with you, and an opportunity with you will make us as proud. Will you keep, yet you want to kill yourself for one woman? If Naliaka is tired of you, why don't you look around? Some of us, we are here. Brenda sobbed as she wiped her tears. She had cried while the fact that I would be dead by then caused her more pain. For that day, I realized how people actually mourn in different versions whenever their beloved one succumbs. Nasambu took her handkerchief, softened in warm water, and wiped my nose, ears, and eyes. Forms of liquid had ejected after what I had gone through. Talk about the below outlets. It was terrible. An old man had actually peed on himself. She never minded and clearly indicated her perfect love for a woman caring for a long-time friend. She wiped and made me clean. If not a boyfriend, then she showed a sisterly love for her brother. Those were our days when children began attending school, and as old as Nasambu, already a mother of two, Neskoko, she was Neskoko. She had already been pronounced a mother, that she was a parent to someone.